Hi everybody. Can you believe it's September 1st? I can't believe it. Labor Day weekend makes me so sad. I hate that summer's over and winter's coming. The days are getting shorter, the pool is closing. So it's time to do my journal flip, my journal planner flip for the month of August. So I don't have a lot to share specifically about my pages, but overall I have some things I need to share and some old things I'm going to pull out. If you've been following my videos, you know that all this year I've been working in these large Jane Davenport journals. And way back in the beginning, the first month, you'll hear in my video, I said, there are reports online that these journals, the binding breaks, and I'm going to be really sad if it does, but I'm taking a chance, and they didn't. They looked like they were getting weak, but nothing broke. So I invested in enough of these journals to go through this year so that at the end of the year I'd have a collection they all matched. They're expensive. They're $30 at Michael's. Now, I never pay full price. I have always at least a 40% off coupon. And I think my last 3 or 4 I ordered online when all of Jane's stuff was 40% off with free shipping. So they came in the mail. So I didn't pay $30, but I've really enjoyed the paper. I've really enjoyed the feel of the covers. And yes, they get all dirty until I paint them at the end of every 2 months. But I have to say I'm really annoyed. This was my first one. You can see I did it February and March of 18. I really wish I had started in January, but that's the compulsive person in me. So my journals will go from February to December of 2018. I go back in these every once in a while to look at different notes, whether it be on my oil page or on my monthly page. I just have different notes in there I need to look at. So then, I like to look back at my art. I like to look back and say, I haven't done this in a while. I haven't done that in a while. Or, oh, this makes me really excited. So I'm flipping through, just sitting at a table, flipping through, and it busted. The binding broke. I have to admit that makes me really, really unhappy. And I can tell you, all the rest of them are really on the verge of the binding breaking also. And there's nothing you can do about it. Once it breaks like that, it breaks. And it could even break in another spot, and I could have a whole chunk of this fall out, which would be really disturbing. So, sorry, Jane. I'm not going to be using these journals anymore. The ones I purchased through November, I will use. And then I think I'm going to try for next year. A friend of mine gave me this Strathmore 500 hardbound. Now it's a lot smaller, but they sell a bigger one, 8.5 by 11, which is only slightly smaller than this big one. So I have one ordered online. It has a pretty decent binding. It's got a hard cover. I probably won't even need to paint the outside. I'll leave them like this. And I absolutely enjoyed the paper in this journal. Now, I did this back in 2017. I filled up the whole second half with Inktober. These are my Inktober prompts. And let me tell you, this paper is thick. There was no bleed through. It took any different media I wanted. These are my fountain pens and watercolor. And I don't even remember what I used on that. This was a lot of ink and pencil. I really enjoyed Inktober. Mermaid markers. This was very mixed media. A lot of different... Look, you get a sneak peek at my last year's Inktober prompts. I'm going really fast. I used stencils, and look how solid the binding's staying. Nothing looks like it's going to break in the binding. So, let me just flip through the rest of these. I know I'm going really fast, but, it's Inktober. There's a lot of scary and Halloween-type prompts, mystical prompts, Nightmare Moon and Lonely Heart. I tried to make a heart-shaped face to make it fit Lonely Heart. Nightmares. One of those tattoo-type faces. And there. So it's the Strathmore 500 series. I will be switching over to those next year. So there we go. That's the background on what my plans are. I have a larger one of these. I don't know if I already said. A larger one of these I ordered on Amazon. It's in the mail now. We'll see what it's like when it comes in. So this is my month at a glance, August and September. It wasn't a busy month. It was summer. You can see lots of blanks. We just do a lot of chilling at the pool in the summer around my house with the grandkids. This is my oil page with my essential oil notes. There's still room. I have a whole nother month to make notes on there. This little book page, I had a training at work, and I get so bored. It was an all-day CPR first aid training, which is important, but the videos are really tedious. So I doodled during the videos, and I just taped her into this page because I thought that page is kind of boring. There's really not a whole lot new to talk about. This was a girl I did with fountain pen and some doodling. This is kind of lame down here, but I didn't feel the desire to do any more. This page, I enjoy this double page. It's all these two, the whole thing is done with these two colors of Jane Davenport ink. I only have 3 colors of her ink, and the other one's a red one. So I started with the stencil, and then I used a watercolor brush, and on this side I did, you know, the loose random blobs and then doodled over top. I enjoy doing that periodically. Another fountain pen girl, just loose and easy. That probably took me under 10 minutes. I decided to watercolor a dragonfly. I used to be really, really into photography. I have a big fancy camera. That has fallen by the wayside. I should be taking my own reference pictures, I have to admit. This reference picture I took off of Pinterest, but I have albums of dragonflies that I took photographs of. I just need to go dig out an album and start using those as my reference pictures. It would be a whole lot more authentic with my own pictures, but I enjoyed doing that. And I believe this is all Danielle Smith watercolors. My favorite new Lamy pen. I have the whole set of Jane Davenport pens, but I'm finding I like the Lamy so much better. I only have 2. And this is all done with my earth brown ink, both pages. She looks like I'm thinking about fall already, doesn't she? Looks sort of like a mum or something. She got a little bit wild hair, but it was a fun experiment. More done with my Lamy and my brown ink. And see here, this is where the binding is starting to crack. And I'm not even halfway through this journal yet. I guarantee you that's where this will eventually crack, is at that seam. This page represents my sisters, me and my 3 sisters. It doesn't look like them, but that's not the point. They do look like sisters, right? And I wrote a little bit here. I had gone to visit my youngest sister and swam in her pool, and I was really wishing the 3 of us could get together. One sister lives in Florida, and 3 of us are up in here in New Jersey. So that's what that page was about. This page has some massive doodling going on there, all done with a Papermate Flair. I enjoy that. You'll notice that in this journal I did an awful lot of monochromatic work, like single color on a page. I don't know why. This girl here, I'm trying to use up the sunrise ink in this Lamy because I want to switch it out to a different color. So I did it there, and I like the yellow. It gives such a summery glow, and this was probably inspired by Christy Sobolewski's Summer Girls. I had a few pictures inspired by that. She just feels like summer, I guess, with all the yellow. I saved a reference picture to show you. I saw, I guess it was the Frugal Crafter. She did a video on, I don't know how to pronounce it, grisaille? It looks like grisaille. Grisaille, which is an ancient technique of using neutral tint watercolor and doing an entire value study and then going over top with a light wash of watercolors. And I really enjoyed her video, so I looked it up, and there are tons of videos doing grisaille. And I thought I'd like to give it a try. Now, I went to Jerry's, and of course, they didn't have neutral tint in stock. I'm going to have to order it online. So I just used my Ivory Black, which is a warm black from Danielle Smith. So I did the value study, and I chickened out. I liked it so much, I didn't put the colors on. I just left it at that. That was fun. I could see myself doing more just in black and white. More just Lamy pen and doodle work with girls' faces. This is a black Jane Davenport pen. She kind of looks like a, I don't know, a disturbed Barbie doll or something, but it was fun. I'm going to see if I can give you a close-up. I love when the nose comes out like this. It's a total mess, just a suggestion, but I like to work like that once in a while. Even this on her chin is just a quick splash with the brush and keep moving. I left hard edges, and I don't know, it's an exercise I like to do once in a while. These girls, aren't they cute? This was a photograph of a real woman on Pinterest, and that was her expression and her hair, and she had freckles, and it turned out adorable, kind of like an anime Raggedy Ann or Andy. And I liked the colors. That I had gotten some new Danielle Smith colors. One was Pyrrole Orange, and one was Phthalo Blue Green shade. So I was trying out my new colors, and I liked the way the orange mixed with the fountain pen with water. It was just literally splashed on there, and it blended together, and I liked that. So I did a larger girl. Again, I used a reference. She came out kind of, I think, Uma Thurman looking, but I used those same colors, the orange and the blue. And once again, she's got the messy nose, the messy mouth, not a whole lot of overworking it, just moving quickly. This was the other color I got, French Ultramarine Blue, and some of my yellow ochre, using my new colors. She's just, I don't know. It was a study. This girl here, look, another page, getting ready to crack at the binding. Sorry, I'm going to harp on that, but it's really bothering me. I went into it knowing it was a possibility too, right? So that's my part in it. I didn't believe the reviews. Other people in the reviews swore I've never had one crack. No, they won't crack. And other people said, yep, they bust apart. So I should have listened. I keep trying this tipped forward face. I keep working on it. And I'm getting closer. I used a reference picture of a girl kind of looking down. I'm never sure if I get the length of the nose right or not. So I did her face with fountain pen, and I wanted bolder hair. So I got out my Elegant Writer and did her hair with Elegant Writer. I notice in this journal I'm doing a lot less journaling, a lot less listing. So it's becoming more an art journal and less a planner. And I don't know if that'll change or not, but everything evolves, and we'll see where I'm headed. Another girl with my Lamy pen and earth brown ink. I really didn't, I was at a loss what to do in the background there. So I don't know, I just drew some squares and some textures. She came out funny. She kind of looks like a, I don't know, a businesswoman or something. I didn't intend that. This girl here, I started with a stencil and with watercolors. You can see it was kind of a circle stencil underneath. And that's why it's on her forehead, because I started with this stencil. I watercolored her face, and I really didn't know what to do with the background. So I found this video by Makoccino, Macosino, and it was on negative painting with watercolor. And it was an interesting technique. I used it to do these leaves. If you're interested, check it out. You put down one layer of watercolor, draw your first set of leaves. That would be the brightest, and you negative paint them. And then you put down another layer, and another layer, and another layer. I'm not explaining that well, but there are some uses for that. I could use that later, and I could give it. This was my first effort. I'm sure I could get better at it. Okay, so I decided my favorite watercolors are Danielle Smith. I own Koi's, I own the Gonzai Tombi, I own cheapy ones, and I thought, no, Jill, stop. You're going to spend all your money building up a nice set of Danielle Smith. And then on Instagram, I saw a little creative me swears by Renaissance. She said in her post, she has purchased, see, these videos don't get any editing. You get me at my real self. She's purchased watercolors in every country, and she swears by Renaissance as being the best. And she literally she lives in Maine, travels to Poland to buy these watercolors. And she, I guess, is like a distributor here in the U.S. And since she was going to Poland, she put this set in a tin of 12 on sale for $30. And I couldn't resist. I bought them. I'm so weak when it comes to art supplies. So, she also sells a lot of other colors individually, and if I like them, I could fill this up with the other colors. The jury's out. I don't know. I have this basic set of 12. You can mix probably almost anything from it. I did my first swatching. I'm not good at swatching. These are the 12 colors, and these are, I tried to, make the stripes of how they glaze over one another. There's some nice mixes here. These are, these two mixed to make the middle one. I like some of those mixed colors, and I think that may be my problem. In my trials, I'm going to jump forward here. In my trials with these watercolors, I didn't mix a lot. I used them straight. And I don't know. I'm going to have to use them a lot more to see if I like them. To me, this looks flat and maybe a little chalky, although I like what happened in her face. And I'll talk more about these two pages later. So I did my swatch and then apparently put them aside and moved on. These two girls are straight from Danielle Mack's videos. As I mentioned in my last video, she's only the second person I've signed up with on Patreon. I do her $5 tier, and I'm learning a lot about drawing different women of color. She says women from all around the world is what she likes to focus on, and that really interests me. So I did these two sketches straight from her videos. I like them. They're basically hers, though. They're not mine, but they were sure fun. This one is all Stabilo, all black pencil. And that must have been a color erase pencil with some watercolor on top. I did this girl, you can tell the bright, vivid colors, mermaid marker, especially the lips. No watercolor gets that bright. Some doodling in the background. Danielle Mack, oh, another place that binding's getting ready to break. She's working this month, Danielle Mack, on profiles and how to draw faces in profile. And she started with noses, so this was the assignment. She had walked us through the first few, and then we were supposed to draw 4 in each direction, left and right, using reference pictures on Pinterest. It was much harder than I expected. But I'm sure it's good practice. She had was it a journal page? I don't know if it's on Patreon or on her public YouTube, but she had one where you do a quick sketch, multiple faces, starting with the circles in different directions, different sizes. This is not the first time I've done this. Christy Sobolewski, I'm going to show you a throwback to July of 2016. We started this, look how empty it is, I never finished it, with Christy Sobolewski on her Patreon. And look at that page, isn't that beautiful? She had us do this page, which to me is the same idea. So we did quick sketch, tried to make girls different faces, different hair, different colors, and then watercolored it. I never quite finished it. I pooped out before I did. There was supposed to be some dark or some doodling around those flowers. So this is not a new idea. I just wanted to show you I have done it before, but it's nice to get a reminder once in a while to do this. And this was all the leftover paint. If you watched my last video for this girl, I had just slapped the leftover paint over here. And I don't know. That's what I ended up sketching on top of. And look, yes, today really is 81818. That really blew my mind. On August 18th, 2018. I should have done an artwork that had that in it big, really. Because I thought that was pretty amazing. It's the little things, right? that get me excited. This was my page for the art journal video I did, I don't know, a week or two ago. So if you're interested, check that out. This girl, I used fountain pen, and I wanted to use my Marabou art crayons for a really, like, loose, and look how stiff it ended up. I put the crayons on and blended them with my fingers, and I was really unhappy. I didn't want her to be stiff and precise, and she almost looks like a Puritan from early America, especially with that hair. But it is what it is. Not every page ends up looking like what we intend or we have in our head. This girl, because of Danielle Mack and her Ladies of Color, I went and found a nice reference picture on Pinterest and did a pencil sketch, and it was fun. I like to spend some time on sketching and positions of face and the way, you know, a head is tilted and different features. So that's that. Another girl, 3/4 face. I used a pencil first and then my Elegant Writer. This girl was also influenced by Danielle Mack. She did a video on how she did flowing hair with mermaid markers. Although I didn't use mermaid markers, I used my watercolors. And that was fun. For some reason, I love the way her shirt and shoulders turned out. I was really happy with her. And I did some journaling there. You'll see I got back to some journaling here in the next little bit. This lady, I like her too. She is my 2 Lamy pens, my Noodler's Sunrise Ink and my Earth Brown. And I like her because she's beautiful, but she's also an older woman. She's not, so many reference pictures are young models with perfect faces, and I like her. I think she's a little more real. I just doodled some in the background. This was inspired by a patient that I work with at work. I do a lot of art groups at work, and this patient is totally into drawing birds. She draws birds all the time, and she copies off of coloring pages that are like line drawings of birds. That's her favorite, and she takes them and she makes them unique to her, and she does it every day, and I love watching it. So I tried to do a bird. It wasn't a great big challenge. I took a coloring page offline. It was a line drawing, and drew it out, and then added my own colors. So it's not a real bird. It's not supposed to be real, but it was fun. I used my fountain pens and my watercolor brush, and it was something different. All right, I already showed you these two pages. This one is a lot of fine line pen masking fluid. I really enjoy using that, and I don't do it enough. So before I sketched it out in pencil because I had to know where the hair and everything was going to be. And I put in the dots and the lines and the designs in her hair and even the journaling. And then painted over it with my Renaissance watercolors, and then peeled the masking fluid off, obviously. It ripped the paper in her nose a little bit. But I really enjoy her face. I hope this works as a close-up. I love the messiness. I love the imperfection. I feel like I've worked long and hard to not make a pristine, perfect face. I mean, she does look rather sad, but besides that, I'm happy with the direction I'm going with this kind of look. Same with her. I started with a color erase pencil, and I wanted the lines to show. I scribbled the face. I wanted them to show through. And I do like the way these watercolors layered in her neck and in her face. I guess I just am happy with the look of the hair. Maybe I, like I said, should have mixed colors, layered colors. I don't know. So here is, I love this page too. I love it when I have no intentions ahead of time. I pick up my pen, I did her face. And then I picked up a stencil and stenciled her hair, her collar. And I didn't stencil this part yet, I have to admit. Then I started the stamping, the line drawing, and that's when I realized I wanted more stencil work over here. So her face is fountain pen. The hair and this, I couldn't get the ink out of the fountain pen to make it bright enough, so I went to watercolors. Although this is doodling with fountain pen and my journaling. And then I added this doodle, and I thought I saw a flower. And then in work that day, so this was all done in the morning. And in work that day, in group, we did sea turtles. And I love sea turtles. And I was inspired. I was like, oh, I'm going to put a sea turtle on that page. For no reason other than I was inspired to that day. And it almost looks to me like maybe she's at an aquarium, or I don't know. I don't know. I like it. This girl was an experiment, a green fountain pen. I put a whole lot more ink on her face than normal, as you can tell. There's almost no white highlights left. And I'm really enjoying this loose background. It was fun to do. It's very meditative. No precision, just loose line work, line work. This was a stencil in her dress. The next step in Danielle Mack's Patreon is sideways profile mouths. So we were supposed to do 4 each direction, and the challenge was to try and add the nose and the mouth together. Again, much harder than I thought. For such a simple looking page, that felt like a lot of work. But I'm sure it will be worth the effort. Going back to what I enjoyed in this, I thought I could take it one step further, and I like it. I did this loose kind of profile, and it looks like her hair is like an energy force coming out from her hair. Of course, I dripped here when I was working on this one. This girl was inspired by, and if you look her up, you'll see, you know, how I was inspired by an artist called B-A-O P-H-A-M, Bao Pham. She does videos of very Asian-looking girls, mostly with their eyes closed, but she does hair and flowers and universe in hair and all different mediums. the video I looked at was done in gouache, and she had these type of orange flowers in here. So you can see mine's very loosely based on hers, definitely inspired by hers. I didn't try and copy it. I tried to take her idea and make it my own. So this was the last day of the month, the 31st. And this morning, on September 1st, I started the next lesson, which is the dimension of Danielle Max. The next lesson is the dimensions of the sideways face. So this was my first effort. She said, don't expect it to come out perfect on your first effort, but I didn't think that was a bad try. No reference picture, just using her notations of where the facial features fit in. I would like to be able to learn to do it without a reference picture and have them look different, but we'll see where that goes. So, thank you for watching. You got to see, I guess, a lot of different things, including my older journals. I'm actually considering, since these journals are going to run out on November 31st, I'd have to buy a new one for December. And then I don't think I can fill a whole one of these in December, and I don't want to buy any more of these. So I'm thinking about taking the month of December and finishing up. You wouldn't believe how many old journals I have that are not finished. I probably have 10 in different varying stages. Some have a little bit to go, some have a lot to go. But we'll see. I have a couple months to think about that. So let me know what you think. Let me know if any of these inspire you to try something new, or if you have any suggestions for me for journals to use. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.